10 mandatory items. And I made it real short, just clipped the thing out of the Heritage Action page that said what you can do. You can defund it to the end of this term, and that is what our objective is to defund it to the end of this term. That's all you can do. But if you do that, you put all the rest of the senators and the representatives on the record. That is very important.
Amen.
Obama just casually abused his power and delayed it for corporations instead of us. And Republicans are still afraid to defund. Question in the back?
Actually, Katrina, guys, we just got the fire marshal is on his way here, apparently about to write us a big ticket. So they told us that everyone in the hallway has to go because the fire marshal is coming. So, and I hate to do that to you, but it sounds like the hotel's about to get a really big ticket.
How much is the ticket?
That's a good question.
How much is the ticket?
I don't know. They said it was a big one.
Well, 1 minute to Washington.
We should send it to Cornyn. But the hotel staff has been very kind and very accommodating, guys. This isn't their fault. And so if you guys could just be very kind to them. And we are live streaming this event. It will be up on YouTube. You can send me an email with whatever question you didn't get to ask today, and we will package all of that up for the senator. But if you guys can help us out, we're so glad there was such a great turnout today. You guys are awesome. But please be kind to the hotel staff. Thank you.
We're going to move forward with questions for those of you still in the room in the live stream.
Senator Cornyn, I moved to Texas from Massachusetts, and right now you're reminding me of the senators I moved away from. Why are you destroying the state that I
Turning it into Taxachusetts.
Exactly, turning it into Taxachusetts. This isn't the Texas I moved to, and I want to know why you are actively working to destroy Texas.
Senator Cornyn, I called your office daily for the last 2 weeks, and my question would be, if you are trying to make a thoughtful, and I quote, thoughtful response to Obamacare, I would suggest that it is beyond thinking. We need some action, sir.
Question over here. Katrina? I called the senator's office a dozen times. They normally leave their phone off the hook. But I finally did get through to somebody here, and they said the senator's position on defunding Obamacare is that he's not willing to defund Obamacare because it would cause some federal employees to have lessened federal benefits. I didn't come here to hear that. I didn't call him, and I didn't come here to think about Senator Cornyn anymore. I want to think about what we do to get rid of the guy. And that's what I want to hear about today.
Primary challenger! Primary challenger!
My name is Virginia Prodan, and almost 25 years ago, I came from communist Romania to Texas, to freedom, not to Obamacare. I fought, and many people fought, until the last breath for freedom. United States of America brought freedom all over the world, and we, people of America, we, people of Texas, we're gonna fight. You are on the wrong side. Fellow Texans, this is a big deal. If we do not defund Obamacare, we're gonna be socialists. You don't want this.
No socialism here!
If there is something inside inside of you that you want to die for. That's your cause. That's your reason. If we transform into a socialist, communist country, you will hate yourself for the rest of your life because you did not fight for what is right. It's time, like Ken said, put that line in front of you and say, I stand up for freedom. I stand up for Texas. I stand up for United States of America and for my children, for my freedom.
I think we should start raising money to find a viable challenger for this guy. Question.
Yeah, my name is Gary Estes. I'm a Republican precinct chairman in Dallas. A couple of things that I want to put forward. Number one, we got a primary coming up in the spring, and most people don't know this, but the platform for the party begins at a meeting right after the polls close. In my meeting, I'm going to put forward some amendments that I want to see in the Constitution, and they include a balanced budget. They include the repeal of the 17th Amendment. They include a sunset law on federal laws. And they include term limits. But I also want to tell you a little bit about my own experience. I'm 67 years old, and about 6 weeks ago, I woke up having what's called a TIA. That's sometimes called a mini stroke. So I go to the hospital, and in a few days, I'm picking up a new scar where they had to open up a carotid artery and clean out the plaque that was built up at about 95% closure. Very successful surgery. I'm in a lot better health now. Under Obamacare, the chances are at 67 I don't get that operation. Here's the other thing. One of my choices for the last couple of years has been Medicare Advantage. Obamacare raided Medicare Advantage. It probably is going away. It's the most successful system that Medicare has operating for it. We have to defund this thing. We have to stop it from going into effect. The decisions that are going to be made are going to affect many of us in a lot of ways that we're not even thinking about. A lot of hip pocket deals, but also the health care for our seniors. And being one, I'm kind of sensitive to that issue, but it's an important issue that we have to think about. Obamacare is going to pay for health care for 20-year-olds by taking it away from your parents and your grandparents and those of us in this room that are over 65.
Let me address that really quick. The argument is, it's a bill. Pete Sessions says, well, there's nothing we can do. It's the law of the land, okay? But let me just remind everyone in this room, how many laws is this administration not enforcing today? You can no longer buy the argument that it's the law, because this Congress has allowed this president to not only violate the laws, but violate the Constitution, delay laws, and ignore laws altogether. The argument no longer works.
Hi, my name is David Chapman, and
Hold the mic up to your mouth.
is that better? First, Ken, I want to thank you for your effort. You've been very active in our Tea Party group in North Dallas. It's a pleasure to meet you, Katrina. I haven't had the opportunity to be involved in a group of this size since Ross Perot ran back in '92, and it's awesome to see people this committed. But I have a simple question. If we're successful, and today we're focused on Obamacare, if you knew that Cornyn came out publicly and said he agrees with Ted Cruz, and he totally supports what Ted Cruz wants in defunding Obamacare, and he's put it in writing, would you be pleased?
Happier.
I didn't know that one issue. So my next question is, if Cornyn gets in line with what our interests are, and he gives us what we want, what do we want next?
Him gone. No,
Okay, so
The EPA gone.
what?
Hutchison, as far as I'm concerned, they get in line as soon as the election comes up, and then as soon as they get reelected, they go right back to being the rhinos that they are.
I agree. And let me just say, I'm independent, leaning to the right. I'm 100% in line with the Tea Party and what their mission is.
Yes.
So the plutocracy that we find ourselves facing today in our nation is very troubling to me. But we've got to harness this anger as a group and be rationally focused on what are the real priorities that we are focused on. So amnesty. I'm not near as concerned about the Hispanic population as I am Sharia law. And I've heard talk about that. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not for it. But they're using that as a smokescreen. And my concern is the open door to Sharia initiatives that we need to be vigilant about.
Katrina, can I want to talk a little bit about what he said about term limits. Because the bottom line is term limits would solve all our problems in this nation. I talked about, we have a weekly class of career politicians, that if you institute term limits, then they're not working for the special interests for, even if it's 10 or 12 years that you term limit them for. They start to go back to working for us. So really, if you want to work for something, push that. And a lot of people don't like this idea that I had, but I say, and when I ran for Congress against Kenny Marchant, I had pushed this because I think this is one of our biggest problems. But even if you grandfather the ones that we have in there, because you're never going to get them to vote for it, ever. So you grandfather them, and then everybody new coming in is then term limited. And by 20 years, look, terrorists don't deal in days; they deal in years and lifetimes to take us out. We got to start thinking like that. It may not happen tomorrow, but if it happens 10 or 20 years from now, we make this place better.
See what you started? Yeah.